I'm not gonna worry about your level of concern.
Yoy and double yoy.
We talking about
Twitter.
Triple yoy.
Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
Quadruple yoy.
Listen, I trust Mike T wholeheartedly, man.
I don't send messages, I just make moves.
Never give up on the Steelers.
It's time again for the podcast that TikTokers say, why do these guys have a podcast? The comments section, after this past week, man, the comments were going hard on me. I think I got, who died and made you king of the fans? And I'm like, if not me, then who? I'm Kyle Lunchbox here. Got my Alf Lunchbox, working my hard hat job. Not really, but...
Well, compared to everyone else on TikTok, you would have to be the king of the fans based on what you showed me on TikTok before.
Well, you know, just heaven forbid you ever try to appeal to, a gooder nature. Gooder nature? Is that even a word?
Close enough.
It's what Jin's talking about. The conversation about the conversation, and the conversation is happening on social media, unfortunately. I'm Kyle Kreis. With me is Greg Benevent.
Hello.
On the ones and twos, the Model Meatball, the living felony, Rob Banks.
What's up?
You know, yeah, people didn't, why so defensive, Steeler Nation? They didn't like some of the things that at least I had to say. I won't put you, Greg doesn't endorse necessarily everything that I spit out here.
I endorse like 99% of it. I mean, I try to make it clear when I don't, but for the most part I do, just maybe not quite as loudly.
Yeah, I'm a loud talker. I don't know what that's about. I'm working on it, Not a lot of even after a win, there's still tons of negativity.
Oh yes.
I'll give a quick tweet over to NC Army veteran, salty Army veteran. When the salty Army veteran is appealing for a little calmer discourse, he says. Or they say, Steeler fans are so damn negative. Why not try and be positive and support the team? I hope you don't treat your kids like that. Jesus F. Christ. And that's kind of my whole take. Like, just so negative. And it's like, what's there to be positive about? Well, we'll get into it.
And I also, for me, I just kind of assume and hope that most of the people we quote on here don't have kids.
Yeah, right. That's in the second half, I'll tell you why there's something to be positive about. Maybe because this defense is on pace to be better than the 2008 defense. First podcaster to say it. And you'll find out why. Your odds will be in the second half.
I will find out why as well.
All right, enough. We're already going long. Enough caucus. Let's get to those stinking. I can't find the. Let's get to the tweets.
Let Matt Canada cook.
That's right. It's cooking season. Starting with at Steelers Cap. Matt Canada was fine tonight. Progress. Whoa, why so positive, Steeler Nation? Oh.
Just unchecked optimism.
That's about as good as Matt Canada's going to get there. He was fine. Okay.
And progress. Not even any punctuation on it. Just simply progress.
Progress.
Hang out there.
Yeah, that's like a Shepard Farley poster. Matt Canada. Maybe we just got our next piece of merch.
Wow.
The Matt Canada progress.
Wow.
All right. How about the let's take the memes take out there. At Ashton Sand 22 control. Hold on, Matt Canada with a big play, and we got the Rick and Morty meme. You son of a bitch, I'm back in. Not the only meme, the Canada meme of the week. At Mr. Rob Ledoux. The Stringer Bell meme. I want you to put the word out there that we back up.
It's the hat that sells it. What just excellent Photoshop work to make. Somehow you make Idris Elba, one of the most composed and best-looking people on the planet, look ridiculous.
Is this team more of a Stringer Bell, or are we more Morty right now?
I'm going to go Morty. I know a lot more about the Baltimore operation of Stringer Bell and Marlowe, so I'm going to have to go with Rick and Morty just because the guys on the corner seemed a lot more together than the Steelers have so far. But in progress, in time, there's maybe to get together as much as the corner boys.
Not quite the swagger yet.
No. Or the success. They were running well before things went bad. Not that that's a spoiler for those of you who haven't seen a 20-year-old show. But yes.
I recommend it. Yeah, it's still not too late. Although they use I don't know. I guess the technology.
Some of those flip phones they track them with are a bit. Whoa. Okay.
Okay. Let's get serious with the takes. At You're Under Arrest, Dane. Total yards of offense, 338, improvement. Total rushing yards, 105, improvement. Total passing, 228 yards, no turnovers. Progress, people, embrace it. Are we ready to embrace the Canada offense in 2023?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we're ready to embrace it, and also because, the Canada offense didn't have a whole lot to do with holding the Raiders to 68 yards rushing, although it kind of did, because they did get a big lead and then managed to hold on to that, despite, because, the way the Raiders got back into the game was through throwing. So yeah, I think all of this improvement, and it's everyone, and of course the hater take since then, and I imagine we'll touch on this at some point, has been, yeah, the Raiders were bad. Okay, but they still had to beat them.
Yeah,
there's also this Raiders team. I don't think they're going to go 3-14. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but they're not going to be like one of the worst teams in the league. I find that hard to believe.
That division, looking at how the Broncos play, and even the Chargers won, but they had some coaching decisions that were
that's
just
a team I can't figure out.
Yeah.
Not to make this what are you bolting about or whatever,
Yeah.
but I got nothing for the Chargers.
Okay, let's keep the Canada love going with at Pittsburgh PG, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Paul Zeiss. Matt Canada deserves most of the credit for the Steelers' improved offense. What I had to go for the quote
Please.
in the article. This is a career-long Matt Canada hater, Paul Zeiss.
Okay.
And here he is saying, Canada came out in front of a national TV audience and pulled off his most complete performance in 3 years. Regarding the scheme and especially the play calls, Canada was at his best. Was this we had some good games last year. Is this really the best of the 3 years he's been with us?
Well, I don't know if I'd necessarily say the best, but I would agree with the most complete performance. This wasn't one where they won it on the last drive, where it wasn't just there was one great drive at the end of the game and maybe one pretty good drive early in the game or at the end of the half. There were still many negative plays and a lot of issues and all that, but it felt like more times than not they were a threat to put some kind of points on the board, and that hasn't happened in a long time.
He can keep my tombstone or whatever. I'll take the W.
Taking the W, right? If it wasn't for, and I don't even know if we'll talk about it, but it wasn't for that late hit on Minka, it seemed like a blowout.
It might have gotten to that point. And I'm also glad we found a very gritty picture of Canada smiling.
Right, this is a happy Canada.
Like hidden in shadow.
No hat even. When the hat comes off, he glows like the sun. But even in a victory with what Paul Zeiss says is the most complete Canada performance, people wondered, like at Steelers fan 90, pretty sure Tomlin either turned off Canada's mic or he's forwarding the calls to his mic. A lot of people couldn't believe that it was really Canada making the calls there. And maybe that has to do with, let's get to the next topic,
okay.
The Canada conspiracy.
Oh, God.
Right? This was the report heard around the Twitter
Sunday
sphere.
morning. Yes.
At Schultz Report, Jordan Schultz, so-called NFL insider.
We've never heard of before.
I see him on Twitter, but I don't know what
Okay.
his insiderness is.
Mm-hmm.
Sources: Steelers are moving offensive coordinator Matt Canada to a more prominent role, working with QB Kenny Pickett. Canada will continue calling plays, but will also be working directly with Pickett on a daily basis. It's hard to figure out what any of that would have even meant.
Right. It makes no sense whatsoever. Because I whatever other doubts you may have about Canada and about this offense and about Pickett, I think we can all agree, haters and believers, that they probably talk to each other a lot.
Yeah, right. It's like Tomlin says it himself. He's part part of the planning. You know that, I mean, I don't know if this is pure fact, but I kind of assumed that run game plan is kind of worked on by the O-line coach. Pass game plan is kind of more Canada's thing, the coordinator's thing.
I mean, we don't know that. Maybe. I mean, I kind of thought Canada was very much hands-on with everything. Remember the whole story about, I forget if it was in 2020 or 2021, about all the Post-it notes, and he would write out all the Post-it notes, and he would leave them in different places, and that's where the plays would come from, something like that. I kind of think Canada controls all of the offensive stuff, but that's also not to say, responsibilities don't shift over time, and I have different people coming into work and all that. I don't know. I mean, you're right. This weird report from this person we'd never heard of before, that no connection to the Steelers, showed up on Sunday. It drove everyone crazy. And then after the game, everyone more or less took a chance to say, hey, that didn't happen at all.
Yeah, what his sources have been, who's talking to this national? It's not even Aditi or Brooke Pryor, one of these other national people who are with Pittsburgh. Like, who would have been talking to them to put this... I don't even know who his sources would have been.
And again, I got the hot scoop. Kenny talks to Canada from noon to 2 p.m. Like, there's not...
We know that Kenny has his own office, right? So I could see everyone coming in and out, or vice versa.
Because you've worked with human beings before, and that's how it goes.
Like an office place,
you have a job,
Well, some people love to run away with this report. At the Pony Express, Andrew Filipponi, Matt Canada is a control freak. He doesn't let assistants help him with the game plan. An O-line coach quit during the season because of that. He doesn't let QBs audible out of his plays. He's a disaster. Shame on Tomlin. Shame on Rooney. Shame on the Steelers. There's like 5 different points of contention here, but do we know that Adrian Clem left because he wasn't getting input on the game plan?
We don't know that's why Clem left. We know it wasn't a good situation with Clem, and that's why he did leave. And he had that really good landing spot, right? Wasn't it University of Oregon? It was.
I just want to work for my alma mater for 9 months and then go work for Bill Belichick. I would love to know more about that, but we haven't heard anything about Clem. Not even from the fan, the so-called fan. Mm-hmm. What about he doesn't let his assistants help with the game plan? I don't, I
feel like we'd heard something, maybe not in so many words, but the Canada very much was like, hey, here's the game plan, and, here it is.
Here it is? Okay.
I don't know but again, these are things, we're several steps removed trying to parse someone else's process. You're not going to know any about
Canada
this.
cook.
Yeah, well, I'll let Canada cook with that. Mm-hmm. Now let's get to what I asked Chris Adamansky, how come the local insiders didn't have this scoop?
Okay.
And then we finally got response from an insider at Mark Cabali, so he cites himself, Cabali. Matt Canada quiets critics for one game after silly report. Mm-hmm. Now his quote from The Athletic, which, I'm not like, I already subscribe to the New York Times. Why do I got to pay for the Athletic?
Even for $1 a month, it still makes you resent it. Yes.
But here's the quote from The Athletic. The notion that Matt Canada is putting blame on Mike Sullivan, the QB coach, was shot down. Multiple Steelers sources who are not authorized to speak publicly denied the report to The Athletic. The sources rejected the idea that anything has changed or will change concerning Canada's work with Pickett on a daily basis. That's just silly. Now, I'm guessing Cabali sources are players. That's who he talked with.
That would be most likely, yes.
I don't know, although that's just silly. That sounds like it might have been Tomlin himself. Maybe that could have been his source.
Well, he did say it at the press conference. They asked him about it, and he just said no.
No.
I mean, that's, that doesn't require a lot of elaboration.
Yeah. So, finally an insider got something.
Inside.
We got some inside ball from the insiders. Well, there's still some Canada haters despite the win.
I almost thought we were going to make it through the episode without that noise. It was so close.
No, because we've got people like at Steel Twins. Canada is not saved. One good game he called tonight doesn't make up for 3 years of garbage. He microwaved, did not cook. Good job, Canada. Still no one likes you. Come on, Steeler Nation.
I shouldn't have laughed at no one likes you. I feel like I'm enabling this nonsense.
Well, look, I've finally, it took me 44 years, but I finally learned how to microwave without, making it all rubbery. So, saying microwave, not cook, hey, it's possible. You can microwave and it not turn out bad.
That's not a bad analogy. It gets microwaving. It gets the job done. You won. You won the meal. That's very much what happened Sunday night.
How about...
I saw this.
At Blitzburg, spotted at a Commanders game. This guy in a Palomalu jersey with the Fire Matt Canada sign. What in the world? Like, to show up at the command. Who are they playing?
The Bills.
The Bills.
Look at the fans. The Bills. Imagine trying to explain this to the poor Commanders and Bills fans why your idiot self showed up with this.
They got destroyed by the Bills.
Oh, I'm sure. Bills are a great team. I'm sure they did. It just asinine.
And those are pretty good tickets. He's
Right.
he's on the end zone, like close to the field
You
there.
hope that's the good ticket. Imagine if this person sat way up and they went down this for the clout in the picture, which is also entirely possible because you're the person that showed up at the Commanders game with a Fire Matt Canada sign.
Excuse me, let me say a room.
Yeah, no, it's a commercial break, guys. I could do this. Oh my God.
Well, that's not even the lowest of the Canada haters.
I know. Oh.
Let's go on to at AB84. AB with the Hitler stash on Matt Canada. I was ready to put AB into the Hall of Honor. Now back to the bottom of the line. AB.
There you go.
He's right there with Lima Swede now in the pecking order.
The scary thing about this is, I'm sure on some level, AB is doing this. He thinks I'll get back in with some of the fans with this. This is how I'll get back on their good side.
I think it's working.
And I'm sure he's worked. I'm sure it's worked with some of them. They forget about all the off the field stuff and not paying people that did their jobs. But if I put a Hitler mustache on this person that AB has probably never met, I
Right?
imagine
Yeah.
AB has met Canada as many times as you and I.
Yeah, and I know he had beef with Bruce, right, with BA.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes, because he had to deal with AB on a day-to-day basis, which is, as we know, the worst way to know AB.
But he hasn't even gone that far with Bruce yet. So
Right.
come on, AB. Now you got me mad. I was on your side. I was playing your songs. Now you're dead to me.
It's no longer booming.
It is no longer booming. Business is not booming. Okay, let's enough Canada talk. We've spent 15 minutes. Let's get to because we got to talk quarterbacks.
Oh my God!
Groomed.
Kenny, you bastard!
The grooming takes place for real this week at Jim Wexell, James C. Wexell Insider. Through 3 games by San Francisco and Cleveland, the QB with the highest passer rating against both is Kenny Pickett. Twice as many yards against the Browns than any other QB. Browns allowed Steelers most points and yards so far this season. This was a little shocking to me.
Yes,
now,
it was.
QB rating isn't the end-all, be-all stat. But
No, especially because now ESPN made their own in the last decade, right? That QBR that tops out at 100 versus 158.3, like no other number in the world.
But this is, it's not for nothing.
No, it's not. Those are those might be the 2 best defenses that the Steelers see in the course of a season. In fact, they most likely are.
In San Francisco, one could argue that some of that yardage came in slop time, maybe.
Certainly, and San Francisco is going to lose a game. They aren't going to go undefeated. But that being maybe the Super Bowl favorite right now, and certainly the 2 best defenses in the game, minus maybe the Eagles, who certainly deserve to be in that conversation, are up there.
But enough said. Kenny is he's grooming. How about this stat? How about it? At Renegade Adam Steele, AFC North passing leaders: Kenny Pickett, 689 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Deshaun Watson, 678 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, 608 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He got this wrong. Joe Burrow, 563 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And only one has played against 2 top 5 defenses. That's the Steelers. So, here's another stat that shows Kenny is he's head and shoulders, I guess.
I mean, it's coming along. I mean, it's certainly better after one night. Let's see what happens when they go play another team that, I don't know what kind of fight the Texans are going to put up, but I think that D'Amico Ryan's a pretty smart guy and a pretty good coach. But I mean, I don't know if Kenny can win a game himself like the rest of these guys can, but he very well could. I mean, maybe we are growing towards that.
Let's go Steelers!
Right, things to be excited about. That's some Yinzer from the news.
Oh, okay. I was trying to place the celebrity, so I'm glad I couldn't. Okay.
All right, let's start getting negative. Enough positivity. Because it's like Najee versus Jalen Warren, right? So here's at Captain Tyne Nuts. Sorry, Najee Harris is a slug. Warren greater than Harris. It sounds like it reminds me of somewhat of the Lev Bell era. Is Najee doing a Lev Bell right now, where people want him to hit the hole hard, but he's kind of maybe seeing what's available first.
I was thinking it's more like the Ben's rookie year with the bus and Deuce Staley, whereas like Najee is Deuce doing a lot of work maybe you don't see, and then like Warren grips off the one big run and you're like, it's when the bus would go for a yard and a half and score a touchdown. I don't know. I thought if you could sum up Najee's career in a GIF to this point, it would be that against the Raiders where he was 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, threw off 4 guys, and then made it 2 yards closer to the line of scrimmage and was tackled by 3 other guys.
Yeah, right. It's like
everything hurts.
Yeah, it's like he's being physical. Man, there were a couple plays where he's like shoving guys to the side, like it was like some real G.I. Joe
back
type
to the line of scrimmage. I mean, it's that's the one thing that really holds this offense back, and obviously it's an outcome, not process. But the sheer number of negative plays is if there was something to focus on outcome wise, that's sure it.
How about let's go to @TreyDay79, Trey Essex.
Day.
I know everyone is hard on Najee, but he isn't getting a lot of help from our run design. We motion across the formation, bring an extra defender into the box, and then run Najee right at that extra defender. I mean, just a horrendous design. What is it? What's not Pat O'Brien? That's the guy from Entertainment Tonight. Who's our O-line coach?
Pat something. Yes, I forget. I'm not 100%, so I forget his name too. But it's Pat something. Yes,
We're just coming to a blank always. I'm so bad with names.
It's okay.
What is it? Is it run design or is it execution still?
It's Pat Meyer.
There you go, Pat Meyer.
Thank you.
Pat O'Brien was close. I mean, something Irish, but yeah, no. It's man, I don't know. You mentioned Trey Essex. I don't know if you saw some of his tweets earlier in the game. I've never seen him so negative yelling about Chuks Okorafor as he was.
I know.
He was mad about that. And Trey's not a hater by his nature.
Yeah.
He really isn't.
But this past weekend,
you are a hater.
I think he was. It's
So I got to figure it's execution. I mean, it's
some of the if you went by the PFF grades, they were higher, but it's still we're still not we're still not getting the push, right?
I mean, I push is one of those things that's almost like, is it elite? Is it, you know it when you see it, the push. But I think it is kind of real. I mean, it's also, like we were just talking a second ago with Kenny and the other quarterbacks. Like, could Kenny win a game by himself when those other people can? Can the push be real? Because we haven't seen it yet, or at least a consistent push. At least the push that doesn't lead to Najee getting pushed 6 yards backwards.
Yeah, I want to start playing Matchbox 20, with that kind of push. So we interviewed Rob Thomas.
Did you? Okay, I was wondering. I was like, wow, that was specific.
No, I got that song in my head now. Plus, it was in the Barbie soundtrack.
That's right.
I didn't watch it yet, but I've heard Ryan Gosling sing the push song.
Oh, a bunch of them do. It's a very funny moment.
Oh, is it? You've seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. How about this from @PFF Steelers? PFF Pitt Steelers. Jalen Warren, 125 yards after the catch this season, leads all running backs and ranks 5th most in the NFL. Yak. It's we wanted to see more of it in 2023. We didn't know it was going to necessarily come from Jalen Warren on 3rd and 17s, and I think that's where he's getting that.
Exactly. He's getting 14 yards on 3rd and 17. You do that 3 or 4 times, and hey, you're really making up some yardage. I mean, this is one of those things I think to look at this makes you think like, oh, okay, there's not a lot of throwing to the running back so far this year in the NFL. That's sort of what I got from it.
Right, we haven't seen Najee get too many.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We were told a lot. If you remember, that was a big part of Najee's strengths.
I wouldn't mind seeing, heck, whatever. I wouldn't mind seeing any. We could pass to everybody right now.
Right.
I could see more Muth.
Darnell Washington, Muth, yes.
More. We'll get Najee in there too. Whatever. Who are we passing to? I guess I don't know.
George.
Oh well, Austin had the big catch.
Yeah, Austin had the big catch,
and A-Rob had one of the key.
Right, had the big first down at the end.
And DJ week 1, okay, whatever. That's who we threw to. Jack Sperry, Steeler fans, would you trade a 3rd-round pick and Najee Harris in exchange for Jonathan Taylor right now? Yes, 73%. Not since Reagan beat Mondale has there been such a landslide.
I don't know, man. Trading for somebody who's profoundly unhappy in their situation and has proven that, hey, they're okay voicing their opinion when they're not happy and things are not going their way. That would also have to pick up, to use Tomlin's phrase, catch up to a moving train or whatever. I don't know. If there's one thing I've learned in the last 2 years of the Steelers making so much new turnover and new players is that it really does take these guys a second to catch up to working with new guys.
Plus, isn't Jonathan Taylor not exactly the epitome of health?
I didn't want to say that because I wasn't 100% sure of it, but yeah, I imagine he's been hurt before too.
I don't even understand where that's coming from.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not trying to trade Najee yet. We still got his option year. I guess is that in question yet? It's only 3 games. Are we still wondering about his option year?
I imagine there's someone right now writing a tweet about that they're not going to sign him. But yes.
All right. Well, I think it's time to take our break. Coming up in the second half. We haven't trash-mouthed Tomlin yet, so maybe it's time to get some Tomlin tweets in there. But I will tell you why the 2023 Steeler defense is on pace to surpass the 2008 defense, one of the all-time defenses. I think you're to blame. You sent me this info.
Oh, did I? Oh, no.
All right, we will see you in the second half.
Hey, Kenny, how lucky are we, right?
I know. I can't believe it. It's truly a dream come true.
I know. I felt the same way back in the day.
Do you have any advice for me?
I would say have fun and really just savor every moment. After all, not everyone gets to be in a #1 Cochran commercial.
It's a great picture. Nice beard, Ben.
Thanks, bud.
Stop by any #1 Cochran store or visit Cochran.com.
Not bad, Kenny. Not bad at all.
I crushed a lot of quarterbacks in my day, and I'm real sorry. So I wrote this letter. Dear quarterback, I apologize for the way I treated you. Please let me buy you a light beer from Miller. Light's my beer because it tastes great. I'm sure it's yours too, because you little guys can't afford to get filled up. Hope to see you soon. Sincerely, L.C. Greenwood.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
It's the second half. We're playing with the lead, I think.
I think so, too.
I say we are, this for once. Okay, I promised to talk about why this year's defense is going to be better than, or maybe already is better than the 2008 defense. But first, let's get some other takes. How about at Slouchy Sports? Well, I trashed Levi Wallace, so I got to give him his flowers. He made 2 great plays in 2 drives, so I hope his success continues. I love it. Let's give him his flowers. Even though, Devontae Adams kind of had a game, had put up like AB type numbers.
Oh, he was incredible. Well, I think there's also something to be said for it's a good thing that the Steelers win a game when they don't have the best player on the field or the player who has the best performance. That's a nice thing to see.
I like it. So let's give him his flowers. Anyone else we giving flowers to? Are we ready to give Pat Pete his flowers yet?
He did have the nice interception. I mean, it did not look good on the 4th down touchdown to Adams, but not many people are going to look good against Devontae Adams. That guy's a great player.
Who else deserves flowers? Anyone?
Keanu Benton, first sack, and by all reports played well by people that can understand defensive line play better than myself, certainly.
I liked Montrevious Adams. He busted up that one play, even though they still got the handoff off. It still was.
He's had a fine start to the season. Montrevious Adams.
With no Cam, we're still got to remember no Cam until Thanksgiving.
Right.
All right. How about let's return to the GOAT, at the Pony Express, Andrew Filipponi. TJ Watt is worth his weight in gold. Best pass rusher in Steelers history. Yeah, I started the claim. TJ Watt on pace, the best Steeler ever. And now this is the 3rd person. Well, Filipponi isn't going as far as I am, but best pass rusher. I mean, statistically, that's true. But, you say you've got to have rings.
Yes.
On pace this year to
just shatter the sack record. Yeah, should he stay healthy.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to at Trib Sports, Tribune Review Sports. 5 things we learned from Steelers Raiders. And this was the quote: "Through 3 weeks, Steelers led the NFL in sacks, 13, forced fumbles, 8, second in takeaways, 8, tied for 4th in interceptions, 4th, tied for 5th in drives that end in turnovers, 20.5%, tied for 5th in tackles for loss, 19, 3rd in pass attempts that end in sacks, 10.3%. Where are some of these stats coming from? 2nd in QB hits, 2nd in pressures, 4th in pressure rate, 4th in hurries, 4th in creating hurries."
Those are a lot. I mean, that's the first time I've heard a lot of stats, but they all sound impressive.
Yeah, you sure it all sounds good, right? So I went back and looked to the 2008 Steelers. How did these? We know from that infamous Dick LeBeau graphic they were number 1 in rushing yards, number 1 in passing yards, number 1 in points allowed. But compared to some of these other sacks in 2008. The Steelers defense was 2nd in sacks with 51. So we're already on pace to beat that. Now, 17 game season, but even with 16 games on pace to beat that. Steelers in 2008 were 9th in takeaways. Already on pace to beat that.
Certainly.
2008 Steelers were tied for 6th in interceptions with 20. Already on pace. We're beating that in rank, but maybe not in number quite yet. 2008 Steelers were 10th in drives that ended in turnovers. We're already surpassing that rate. 5th in QB hits. We're already passing that rate. 8th in tackles for loss. We're already beating that rate. It's this. I know it's 3 games in. We've got to do this for 15 more times or 14 more times. Could you see this 2023 defense being as good as the 2008 defense?
No, it just but for the parts that you said at the beginning of this, though, about how that 2008 defense was first in the league in points allowed and in rushing yards allowed, and this one again for what you said yourself about Cam not being back till Thanksgiving. Keanu Benton seems like a real find. He's going to be a player. Montravius Adams is playing some of the best football of his life, and certainly the guys in the inside linebackers are coming along. Holcomb becoming a player. I mean, I'm not sure he's going to be a star, but being the first serviceable starter they've had as inside linebacker in years, all these things help. But being first in the league against the run is going to be a tough task.
The splash.
Splash solves a lot of issues.
So this could be the splashiest defense in Steelers history,
which would win a lot of games.
And it looks like we're going to have to. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, I think that is the subtext of what I was saying. Yes.
Defense is already. I mean, defense won the Browns game.
Yes. And defense had a lot to do with this one, even though, it's easy to say, okay, the Raiders came back, and but it's hard to shut a team out for the entire game. Like, when you can do that, you're kind of a Super Bowl contender, like the Niners were when they did it to the Steelers. It's really hard to keep a team out of the game all game.
In a lot of those LeBeau years, maybe not 2008 in particular, but there was a lot of bend but not break in those LeBeau years.
There was that in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald is still running on a few of those drives.
Well, let's go to at Alex Kozora. Alex Kozora. The Steelers defense has 8 takeaways through 3 games for the first time since 2010. They also did it in 2008 and 2005. You know what that means? Super Bowl bound.
Jeez.
Is it too soon? 3 games is hardly a sample size.
Well, this is why I love that Alex Kozora is someone that has a strong enough Twitter brand that I know this is sarcasm. That's what you want to be on social media.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It's because Kozora is too smart to look at 3 games and do that. But it's the kinds of things that you absolutely wanted to see because they haven't had this for some time. I mean, it's because a lot of these takeaways, they aren't all TJ, they aren't all Highsmith. They're the secondary picking passes off. They're Cole Holcomb knocking the ball from a guy. I mean, it's, they're Levi Wallace getting multiple interceptions. I mean, that's the kind of thing that this team should want and needs.
Well, I'm booking where's the Super Bowl this year?
I have no idea.
I'm booking.
It's with Pat Meyer somewhere. I have nothing. It things I just don't know. It's so you know what it is? I'm sure it's somewhere nice. That's where they do try to get it now. It's we're past, I think, all the cold weather ones. I don't think it's in Minnesota.
Oh, I'm booking it. That's my new trend is to book the room and just not get the tickets. I did that for Vegas. I was in Pittsburgh for week 1.
People seem to do that now. That's the new hip thing. You booked somewhere, then you just don't go to the game, and you have a lovely weekend. weekend.
I can't afford it. I'm priced out. I'm too much of a Joey lunch pail over here. I got priced out of these bougie Pittsburgh tickets.
The king of the fans can't go to the game.
That's right. That's from my living room. King of the...
We so have to get that out of
He
play.
died and made you king of the fans. Well, because everyone else is a big butthead.
Right,
That's
exactly.
why.
As a minion, yes. As a pawn. I concur.
All right, let's talk little Tomlin. I haven't wanted to. Oh, the fire alarm is going off. Okay, please stop. Thank you.
Okay.
At Kenneth James Lee, KJ Wolf. I do not like letting the clock run out with 2 times outs. We had something rolling. Let's go to at least third down to see what happens. You know, whether there's 36 seconds left and we had the ball, we could have made a play for a field goal.
Yeah, but they had a lead. They had some good positive momentum going from the first half. There's a difference between living in your fears and just always being as aggressive as possible.
Plus, you know, what a way to give up momentum is to try to, you know, force a field goal, get a turnover, and then they get the ball back in the second half.
Start the second half. Yes.
So I'm not crying about.
I have no issues with that,
especially with the way the you know, up until that point, Kenny wasn't necessarily proven that he was a 2-minute driller at all. Not this season, at least.
Not this season.
How about at Tim Benz PGH? Tim Benz. Just to clear up the Mojo thing from Tomlin's press conference, when he said sometimes he gives us just a little line or phrase so we can move on from repetitive question, he used Mojo in the opening comments. No one even asked a question yet. Man, it seemed like the fan and the haters were upset that Tomlin admitted he lied to us. Thing is, didn't he say this to Pompiani?
Yes,
3 or 4 days before.
It was. Yeah, I forget if it was Pompiani or Labriola, but yes, one of the Italian gentlemen that works for the Steelers. He told them this exact thing, and he said it at even greater length. Like, yes, I make things up when your questions get repetitive. Thank you.
And you know, it's not even about a fact or it's about a word, Mojo. And I think Tomlin caught himself straying into intangible. You know, he used the word Mojo, and then he realized, no, we don't play with luck. We don't play Mojo. We don't play feelings. It's you know, it's execution. And he retracted that specifically because he didn't want to get down on that trend of, you know, feelings, Mojo, eliteness. You know.
No, yeah, no, I absolutely. I mean, I think it seemed, and the players certainly seemed to know that, because if you saw their comments after the game, everyone from Najee, definitely Najee, and I think some others were like, oh yeah, Tomlin made that up. That doesn't exist. That was simply he was taking a knee on the press conference as well.
But he did come out, it wasn't a question. He did come out and open his statement with that about the Mojo. But whatever, you know, it's the same difference as an oxymoron once said. This to me speaks more about anything about Tomlin. At B. Pryor, Brooke Pryor, Houston Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans on Mike Tomlin. He's the epitome of what I want to be like. You know, we hear it from every player. We hear it from people from Rich Eisen to Florio. Everyone puts this guy on a pedestal. And when people tell you the truth, I you know, it behooves you to listen to them. And not even his peers are putting him up kind of on an elite level.
Oh, yeah, and Ryans has certainly played against Tomlin multiple times, if I remember correctly. And Ryan seems to be off to a good start, too. And the way they're putting together this Houston thing, that is not going to be an easy game Sunday.
Yeah. Don't, you know, I don't want to play.
There are no easy games for this team either. Yeah. That's all done. That day, I think that left with AB, or maybe Lev Bell, in fact. There it is.
No truer words have been spoken. And don't listen to we play down to our opponent's narrative. No, this is an away game, even though we're favored. With a QB who is who's lighting it up.
I was going to say has had the best start to a QB career in a long, long time.
An Ohio State QB putting up numbers in the NFL. Bring back LeBeau just because we're playing a rookie quarterback. That's what my thing is like. Man, I want that. Wish we had that LeBeau record against rookies. Do I even want to? I don't even know if I want to talk about. We'll just briefly at Bill Simmons, lifelong Steeler fan. Bill Simmons. Raiders kept alive by a completely made-up helmet-to-helmet call and a field goal block leverage penalty that they couldn't find on 3 different replays. I've said it to you off mic that the refs do love to keep it within a score of the spread.
That was Madden's line too. If you saw that was his column on Monday morning. Was basically that exact thing. I mean, Simmons, as much as I can criticize him, the man knows how to write a pithy tweet. I mean, the dude didn't he used to write jokes for Kimmel for a brief period.
Oh
there?
yeah.
So I mean, this line rolls off your tongue. I don't know. I mean, the helmet to helmet call thing. I forget who brought up the point, but it's if the quarter, if you're in doubt, you're supposed to throw the flag. That's the way it is with the refs, which is why that call's always going to be made. It's a tough thing. Jimmy ducks his head because he's a human being, not wanting to get hit by another human being, and that leads to the penalty. I mean, it's just bad luck all around.
Well, yeah, it reminded me of was it the Raiders 2 years ago, or when the blocked field goal, blocked extra point, it was called?
Oh, wasn't that the Packers?
Oh, that was Packers?
I think that was Packers.
All right. Well,
Minka blocked that too, right?
Or was it Hayden? I can't even remember now.
Okay.
It's all bleeding together. Okay. Let's. Did you watch The Bus on?
I have not yet. I have not seen The Bus yet. I will, obviously.
I found two interesting things. First was that he said that he had his choice. When the Rams traded him, it could have been to the Oilers or the Steelers, and he was like not sure where to go. But his agent said, "Look, I've got this rookie coming up, and I really want him to get drafted as early as possible. And the Oilers have pick 15, so if you go to the Steelers, who had pick 30, 29
it was
or
like
30.
20. It was somewhere in the mid-20s. Yeah, mid to high 20s.
So his agent kind of said, "Look, I'd really like my client to get drafted earlier. So if it's, if you don't care, go to Pittsburgh."
Mm-hmm.
And that client was Eddie George.
Another Hall of Famer who had a tremendous career.
Is there a what if where if Bus goes to the Oilers, then Eddie George becomes a Steeler?
I don't know. I find that hard to believe that someone wouldn't have taken Eddie George before that. I mean, he had such a good career at Ohio State, but I find it hard to believe that Eddie George would have lasted to, even if the Steelers were picking at like 24, not being up on, not remembering what's going on in the draft. I find it hard to believe Eddie George would have been there.
The other thing was, he said the Pats cheated in the 2004 AFC Championship, right? That's the Spygate.
See, I always thought 2001 was more of a Spygate game than 04, but I mean, I was there, but I don't remember it so clearly what might have been a Spygate moment.
Well, here I have the soundbite actually from The Bus.
I know Asante Samuel was yelling about this on whatever podcast he was on the other day.
Here's what The Bus had to say on Ben's podcast.
We run the play. He loops into the hole.
What? I guess I should say he's talking about it's the first quarter. There was a 4th and 1 that they got stuffed on.
Okay.
So the third down was Veron Hayes. It was like 3rd and 5. Veron Hayes gets it to about 4th and 1.
Sure.
All right. That's where The Bus picks up here.
We run the play. He loops into the hole.
What?
Washington does.
What?
They stop us on 4th down. What? Right. That's a critical play in the game.
What?
They had our signs, and they called a timeout.
What?
To get them ready for that play because they knew it was coming.
So it sounds good to me. At first, I was like, "Hey, if Bus is saying it's a cheat, it's a cheat." Now I went back and let's look at the actual play here because it turns out memory isn't the most reliable narrator. So let's take a look here. This is it playing? Okay. This is the Veron Hayes.
Yeah.
Okay. 4th and 1.
Yeah, 4th and 1. Like,
now,
a little less than 1, maybe. You got pretty close.
Bus says that they called a timeout because they wanted to get the right formation in. But if you look here, it's actually a ref measuring. It's a ref timeout.
Right, because it looked very close. Yeah, I can see wanting to measure that.
Are we going to see the measurement? I can't even. They're not even going to show it, are they?
Okay.
Well, here comes the measurement.
Right.
Now you'll see number 52 comes out. That's the linebacker. That's not defensive tackle. Because Bus says, "Oh, they brought this extra DT off the." He said, "Oh, they came off. They brought the DT off to the sideline." I can't pause this.
No, it's okay. I mean, we don't have to go through the whole game. Yeah.
Anyway, Bus says that the nose tackle came off the field and then came back on after hearing that it was going to be a counter.
Okay.
But it actually wasn't the nose tackle. It was a linebacker who came off, and he didn't loop around into the hole. It was just a straight-up defensive stop.
Well, there's something else to be said about this. If I remember correctly, it's also in this first quarter that I want to say it's still Vinatieri at this point kicks then the longest field goal in Heinz Field history. That didn't come through Spygate. He didn't do
No.
that because of that. The fact also they trail in this game by a lot at multiple times. I mean, might they have had an unfair advantage? Okay, maybe, but there was so much else going on in this game. I find it hard to believe it's all as a result of that.
Wasn't it like 24-3 or something?
Yeah,
to start?
at some point there. Yeah, I mean the Steelers do make a push. I want to say late in the third to kind of make it a little more competitive. But this was also, I mean, I forget who used the phrase. It was so well before this game. The Steelers were leaking oil because this is the week after they escape the Jets, which is not, maybe the greatest Jets team. I mean, Ben throws some bad interceptions. They pull it out in overtime. The Jets miss a field goal they absolutely should have made. I mean, it's just, I mean, almost 20 years later now, it's hard for me to believe that that this only happened because of Spygate.
And I think Ben threw 2 picks, including one in the red zone. I think.
At least in the red zone. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I want to say it was at least 2 picks. It's been a minute, but yeah, it's very hard for me to believe that this was all the result of Spygate.
I'll still call the Pats cheaters, though.
I mean, that's
whatever.
fun. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But yeah.
All right, I think the band is trying to get on the field. All right, some odds and ends. Actually, let's move on straight to at Alex Kozora. Presley Harvin. No, I want to go back one. Let's go back to at 304 Collector Corner. Chris Boswell has now tied the rest of the kickers in Steeler history combined with 50-yard plus field goals with a 57-yard missile nonetheless. So even including Gary Anderson, all the previous Steeler kickers combined have fewer 50-yard field goals now than Chris Boswell.
I mean, it's just amazing. That kick, I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was the 3rd longest field goal in Steelers history. Also, I think he's on the 2nd R in Raiders when he kicks it.
He's on the logo,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's like he might be on the eye patch.
Is Boswell, is he Hall of Honor consideration at this point?
I mean, again, I'd have to say kind of rings, but you don't need the rings for the Hall of Honor. I think he very well might be the best kicker in Steeler history. I mean, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's, the players are getting bigger and all that all around, but the kickers are better than they've ever been.
I want to know how. How is it, what happened in the past? It seems like in the past 10 years
right,
only.
Not even 20 years.
Yeah.
It is in the last 10 years, yeah.
Because I'm watching that 04 game, and they're like, a Steeler has never kicked a 50-yarder in Heinz Field.
Right.
Like, they're saying that still.
No, Vinatieri kicks that in the first quarter, and it's the longest, might be the longest ever at the time, yeah.
Like, what? It's like conditioning hasn't changed, right? Weight training hasn't changed.
Even if the players are bigger and stronger, does that really mean they can do better kicking? I don't know. Maybe it does. I assume, like everything else, there's advancements in what we know about it in terms of strategy. But again, they've been kicking field goals for a long time now. Like,
yeah,
it's a mystery. It really is.
Knees over toes. I don't know. He's doing one of those strength exercises. Now let's get to at Alex Kozora. Presley Harvin had a literal historical night for the Steelers last night. Best punting average in a game with 6 or more punts, franchise history. Number 1, Bobby Walden from 1970, 54 yards. Number 2, Presley Harvin, 53.8 yards average.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, this is the best case scenario for a player that was called out publicly by the coach. Is this exact thing? I mean, Tomlin called him out maybe more so than anyone else after the 49er game. And then Harvin responded in a very big way. And even then he had one punt that was only like 41, 42 yards, not his best, but that's still, he boomed the rest of them so much that just this incredible number.
And teams are playing well. You know, I saw Mark Robinson with a good tackle.
It ran from Reno in to come and tackle that dude.
Gosh, I don't even think I could walk 60 yards without.
It's exhausting watching the all 22 of that. It really is.
And he got some defensive snaps in that game too.
4 snaps, yes.
And so it seems like. Is his stock rising? And who's on the losing end of that? I guess Elandon Roberts, I guess.
Well, I think Loudermilk snaps keep going down. I mean, it's not exactly the same position, but I think it's that Matt Williamson that's going on to say Loudermilk has become a problem. I think the exact phrase.
But they're giving him the helmet over. People are still complaining. Fiocco, 300 yards, your 300-pounder can't get in the game. All right. How about let's go to At Brian Batko, Steelers jersey spotted on the Vegas Strip on this game day. Najee Harris, okay. Minka, duh. TJ Watt, yes. Kenny Pickett, okay. Troy Polamalu, Franco, Bradshaw, Pickens, Porter Jr., Pat Freiermuth, Bettis, Roethlisberger, Randall L. Okay, a little surprising. Heath Miller, of course.
Yeah.
Lambert, Green, Loudermilk is a surprise.
Wow. Maybe you just had a 92 and you just keep updating it every time there's a new 92.
But fans aren't buying 97s. Where are the Cam Hayward
I mean, I have a
jerseys?
97. It's just a 97 Kendrell Bell.
Yeah, but where are the Hayward jersey? He's
it is surprising.
Captain. You think Hall of Honor lock?
Yeah,
you know, Pro
possible
Bowler?
Hall of Famer. I mean, he is on that track. It really is.
You know, and even when I was back in town for the Niners weekend, you know, they're not selling them in the stores. So it's very interesting. I always want to do a little investigative journalism about why Hayward jerseys aren't selling, and if it has to do, you know, when I emailed Bert last season, and he said that, you know, and I was like, is there a shortage of jerseys? He said there's no problem getting whatever jersey you want.
Right.
So fans
if you're on the Steelers mailing list, they will sell you any jersey you want. They are very upfront about that.
But no Hayward jerseys. I mean, I feel like I got to get one just so I can rep.
I'll wear my Kendrell Bell if you do.
I saw Vic jerseys when
that's true.
When
that
they played in San Diego.
They had those 2 Vic jerseys.
Yeah. So you know, where are the Hayward jerseys? I don't know. All right, let's. It's about time to wrap things. Oh, let's give the final word to. At Mark Cabali. If the season ended today, the Steelers would win the AFC North, be the number 2 seed in the conference, and host the Bills at Acrisure Stadium. I say, let's end the season now.
Hopefully that person could bring their Fire Matt Canada sign from the last Bills game they were at, playing the Commanders.
Man, but by looking at the fans and the tweets, though, you would think that we were, you know, already disqualified from the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard for these people to deal with positivity. They've grown accustomed to negativity, and hopefully there's more positivity for them to have to emotionally grapple with.
Yeah, let's hope it's a 3-1. I'd hate to see the haters cry when we're 3-1.
There you go.
Okay, did we go? I guess I don't know, it was relatively long.
Maybe not.
That's what we've been talking about.
Yeah, it felt like quick for me, but that's what we've been talking about. Okay, get your Blame Canada. Hey, I still got about 1,000 Blame Canada stickers. So
and it lets you blame Canada from anywhere that you are. This sticker.
Yeah, so reach out if you want those Blame Canada. I appreciate everyone who has who's received them and has been grateful for it. I'm grateful for you, for Yins. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can always just email me, KyleChrice@gmail.com, or hit me up. I'm still on Twitter at Kyle Chrice, but I'm trying. I want to grow my TikTok numbers.
There you go.
Just so I can go live. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do when I can go live.
But you can go live. You'll figure it out then.
Maybe we'll stream these shows live. I might. I got to give a shout out to the Steel Pride family who they do game day every Sunday at Caruso's Italian Kitchen in Granada Hills.
Oh.
So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking. I don't know. Just maybe to pass out some stickers and just
give it a shot.
I don't know, but then again. Our bar is like walking distance from my place.
Our bar is very close.
Yeah, but maybe I gotta call to make sure they even have.
We should do that too.
Because now that it's on YouTube and not DirecTV, I don't know. Are they even have the game? Are they going to be watching? Or are they even open?
That was where I was going to go with it. Yes.
But maybe we'll head up to Caruso's with the Steel Pride family. Greg, what about you on the internet?
Unfortunately, you can find me on Instagram for the most part at Greg Benevent, B as in boy, E-N-E, V as in Victor, E-N-T.
We're also performing, if you're in the LA area, you can catch us at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank. I don't have any hot Steelers jokes. But
No. And nor would you want to have otherwise. I feel weird going on stage in the colors.
Yeah, maybe, but now with all this Kelsey talk, maybe there's room
That's
for...
That's true. The Swifties are coming over. We can finally talk to a new generation.
Yeah. Yeah, Chiefs have Taylor Swift, but we've got Michael Keaton. Who wins?
The one part you liked in The Flash.
The final scene, I won't spoil it, but the final is cute.
It is.
Oh, you saw? You did say?
Yeah,
Okay, all right. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Until next week. Maybe leave us a comment or a review on Facebook. No, on iTunes or Spotify. Maybe even YouTube now. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can subscribe there or something. I don't know. I'm not telling you what to do. Just do it. All right. Until next week when we come back from Houston. Keep listening to yours, Coach.
Be their best selves. That's going to be required.
Stay in school.